about to meet a man with a mysterious superpower of his own, but in all other respects, he's just a mere mortal. Brian Rooney now with a story you're unlikely to forget.
Do you remember exactly where you were and who you were with when the Berlin Wall came down? Do you remember what you did on your 11th birthday? Name everybody in this college beer party. How about the exact dates President Reagan was shot and John Lennon died? Or the final episode of Seinfeld?
Guilty.
A man named Bob Petrella in Los Angeles can tell you all those things without hesitation.
Johnny Carson's last day on the air.
Oh, May 22nd, 1992, a Friday.
August 16th, 77.
Oh, Elvis.
October 3rd, 95.
OJ.
What about OJ?
He was acquitted.
Not guilty of the crime of murder.
August 15th, 1969.
Woodstock. That was a Friday.
It's not a cocktail party trick. He's only the fourth person in the United States discovered to have what's been described as super autobiographical memory. Give him a date or event, he's likely to remember it and something more.
March 30, 81.
Reagan was shot. And that night, Indiana beat North Carolina for the NCAA championship.
He lives a fairly normal life, working as a freelance cable television producer. Some people know him for years before he stuns them with his memory.
What day was Princess Diana killed?
It was a Saturday, August 30th, 97. Then the next day, the Steelers lost to Dallas 37-7.
It's a mixture of personal experiences and verifiable public events. He leans towards sports, but historical dates are embedded in his brain as well. It's a mystery.
Well, we don't know how it works, and we would like to know how it works.
Petrella and the three others with super memory have been the subjects of study at the University of California in Irvine.
These are not learning machines. These are not people with so-called photographic memory. These are people who learn certain things about their experience in lives and don't forget.
The doctors have screened about 2,000 people with 60 questions. Only those with super memory have a chance of answering. Think you've got great memory?
What was the date and the location of the Palestinian guerrillas' killing of Israeli Olympian athletes?
Munich, September 1970.
You get 1 point out of 10 for that. It was September 5th, 1972, but you also moved your eyes to the heavens when you did that, and our four subjects don't do that. They look right at me and give the answer. When was Jim Baker found guilty, and when was he sentenced?
Pass.
Okay. When was Germany officially reunited?
1980s.
Wrong decade.
Bob Petrella got 30 of 60 dead right. The best known of the four super memory people is Jill Price, also of Los Angeles, who wrote a book called The Woman Who Can't Forget.
I always explain to people, like, I'm walking around with a video camera on my shoulder, and every day is a videotape. So if you throw a date out at me, it's as if I pulled a videotape out, put it in a VCR, and just watched the day.
You know, they'll be here all night.
April 29th, 1992, Wednesday, is when the Los Angeles riots began.
She has suffered some, having a mind filled with every memory.
It's uncontrollable. I actually think we should be like in a mental hospital, because makes me crazy. But I figured out a way to live with this.
Doctors are just beginning to observe, let alone understand this phenomenon.
Oh, there it is, right there.
They all have slightly obsessive tendencies. They save a lot of things. They keep a lot of things. The Salvation Army will never get rich with these people because they keep it, so they covet collections the way that they covet their memories. And we find that interesting.
And certain parts of their brains are larger than they are in people who don't have this kind of memory.
Is it infinite? Could they keep cramming their head with facts and recall them?
Probably, because there's no capacity limitation on what we can learn.
But it is completely unintentional. Bob Petrella remembers schoolboy sports events in Pennsylvania, that he got glasses in 1956. He remembers all but 2 of his birthdays since he turned 5, where he was and what he did with school buddies, things we can't repeat about girlfriends, and college. Grainy images of the 1970s are vivid pictures in his head.
I lost my cell phone September 24th, 2006. It was a Sunday. And I think a lot of people, if they lost their cell phone, they would panic because they have all these numbers. I didn't have any numbers in my cell phone because I know everybody's numbers up here.
Your head doesn't feel cluttered?
It does a lot of times.
Do you remember how you felt as well?
Oh yeah. Sometimes that's a bad thing. There's like it's a flashback when I'm going through a bad situation or a bad circumstance, and then I go back and I go, well, this is how I felt on, say, May 3rd, 1986.
At the same time, he has the kind of forgetfulness anyone can have.
I'll walk from one room to another and forget why I went there.
I'll do that sometime.
Or he'll forget that he left his car in a tow zone.
Completely forgot about it. Woke up Friday morning, my car got towed.
But he can tell you what movie won the Oscar for Best Picture since 1971.
Oscars 1973.
That was The Godfather. And that was the one, remember when Marlon Brando sent Sachin Littlefeather, I think, or what her name was, up to the podium to accept the Oscar.
Hello, my name is Sachin Littlefeather.
He is the most astounding at sports events. You could show him a freeze frame from a game 35 years ago.
The Bucks and the Celtics played in the NBA Finals in '74, and that's what it looks like.
And what happens?
Well, there was one game where Abdul-Jabbar, I saw him make a hook shot and forced the seventh game, I think. And it's Boston, so it's a parquet floor.
Yeah, you had it right off the still frame.
Oh, okay, yeah, okay.
And ask him anything about his beloved Pittsburgh Steelers.
When did the Steelers win their first Super Bowl?
January 12th, 1975. 16-6, played in New Orleans. Franco Harris was the most valuable player, 158 yards. I watched it in Arcadia with my friends Dennison and Stilson.
And that's all just right there.
When someone hears a song, from 30 or 40 years ago, and they go right back to how they felt, that's probably the best comparison. So for me, whenever I hear a date, May 8, 1970, I can go back and I can remember what the weather was like, how I was feeling, who I was hanging around with, and stuff like that.
He called me, I swear, 6 years after I had met him, I got a telephone message from him one day, and he said, happy anniversary, we met 6 years ago today. Was it, Wednesday? And I thought, who are you?
So don't take him to dinner and try to beat him.
I don't remember a lot of my birthdays. Right? Do you? I don't remember
your 30th. I shouldn't say that. You were pretty depressed.
He remembers that, too. And she doesn't. This is Brian Rooney for Nightline in Los Angeles.
The amazing depths of the human mind. Our thanks to Brian Rooney.